In the late 1800s, millions of people owned a device they believed was the future of entertainment. It was a simple viewer that could take flat images and give them a sense of depth that felt almost real to the person using it. It didn't disappear overnight. People went on using it for years, then less often, and eventually it was set aside as other forms of media took its place. What's less obvious now is why it felt so new at the time, or why something so widely used could fade in a way that's easy to overlook. To get at that, it helps to look at what the device was actually doing. The effect depended on something simple. Each eye was shown a slightly different image, and when those images were combined, the scene appeared to have depth. In 1838, Charles Wheatstone noted that this kind of effect could be created using two images and the way the eyes perceive them. Later, David Brewster developed a small device called a stereoscope that made it possible for people to view these images for themselves. A person looking into the viewer would see a three-dimensional image created from two two-dimensional ones. When people looked into a stereoscope, they weren't just looking at a photograph. The images often showed places they wouldn't see in person, including scenes from the American West and from other countries. For many people, especially those who could not travel, this made the experience different from looking at ordinary images. Collecting stereographs from trips abroad became common in the second half of the 1800s, and the images themselves became part of a wider habit of viewing and collecting. The popularity of stereographs grew quickly. After they were displayed at the London International Exhibition in 1851, public interest increased, and stereograph manufacturing began to expand, including in the United States. Frederick and William Langenheim were among the first to manufacture these images. They were inexpensive to produce, widely available in stores, and did not require specialized knowledge of photography to create. This made them accessible in a way that allowed them to spread beyond a small audience. Over time, this developed into a larger industry. The peak period for stereographs lasted from about 1850 to 1930, during which millions of images were produced. The popularity of the stereoscope spread, and many families owned one. The images were not only used for entertainment, but were also used in schools, where they served to present scenes and locations visually. One of the leading companies in this industry was Underwood and Underwood, founded by Bert and Elmer Underwood. The company produced large numbers of stereograph slides and sold them in sets that people could purchase. Their images included subjects such as the American West and war scenes. At one point, the scale of production reached 25,000 daily stereograph cards, reflecting how widespread and organized the industry had become. Even as the industry expanded, it did not continue indefinitely. Over time, other forms of media began to take hold. Postcards became widely available, offering a simpler way to view and collect images. Radio introduced an entirely different kind of experience, one that did not rely on visual images at all. As these forms of media became more common, the stereoscope was used less frequently. By the early 20th century, this shift became more noticeable. Underwood and Underwood ceased stereograph production in 1920, and their rights and some of their stereographic assets were later purchased by the Keystone View Company. What had once been a widely used device gradually moved out of everyday use. Looking back, the stereoscope was not a minor or obscure technology. It was widely owned, widely used, and integrated into both entertainment and education. For a period of time, it offered a way to see images with a sense of depth that ordinary photographs did not provide. Its decline was shaped by the introduction of other forms of media that changed how people experienced images and information. What remains is not just the device itself, but the pattern it follows. Technology becomes widely adopted, seems to define how people experience something, and then, over time, is replaced by something else that changes those expectations.